Okay, hopefully I have a good connection. Hopefully everybody is having a good day. So, we are going to start at the month. Um, there are some things that I want to explain. First off, on the month, we look really good. I don't know what to say. The MACD is still very promising for months in the future. Um, Even when we have, well, these things become a little different at different time frames, but right now on the month, we're really good. So we're just going to skip. Uh, and on these longer time frames, I'm specifically just looking at the MACD right now. Um, if we drop to the week, one thing that I wanted to point out is that right now for the week we're down, but that doesn't mean that we won't continue up. We haven't pegged on the MACD. And even so if we go if we go to the MACD and we look at, specifically we look at this period right in between here, we can look at that and make that a little clearer as to what I'm looking at. I'm looking at when we cross right here to when we go to here. So that's an 11% drop, so to speak. And that's not very much of a drop. But we can see that we do start this channel here. So this drop on the week, and there's a reason why I'm pointing this out. This drop on the week to me was very expected, right? It actually, this yellow line here has been here for a long time, and I was expecting some type of resistance support somewhere right around here, and I was expecting it to go sideways. On the week, it's a little exaggerated, but there was some good stuff to do, some altcoins in here. So why do I point this out? And I wanna I I'm getting to that. So we actually have like a 12% channel here over a weekly period of almost half a year. Now, normally, I would say that we should be seeing that soon, like real soon. Like we should see months, like 4 months at least, of some pretty choppy sideways action. But I don't see that. I don't see that. And I haven't seen that in a little while. And I probably haven't had that thought since I drew this red line right here. This red line was supposed to be a very important line for the future. This red line we never touched again after we crossed above here. And that's what I wanted, was I wanted this red line to come back down closer to, or I wanted our price action when we were here in January. I wanted to see some volatile action to the downside. I wanted to see us come down to where the 50 EMA was at the very least. That's what I wanted to see. That this is why after I did my retrospective in January, I decided that I was going to start introducing the 20-day or the 20 period moving average, right? Um, and we've been above that ever since we started to cross this imaginary line of mine. So the problem is the ETFs, and the price action is based on all of the volume. You can't deny that right now. It's gone up crazy. I don't know. I can't tell you when that's going to stop, when that influence is going to stop, but that has pushed everything a lot higher than I thought it would be. And it's making this blue this blue dashed line. It's making this blue dashed line uh, irrelevant, right? Like I can't count on this anymore. So um, we still look fairly good on the week, and we may have some upside in the future because I can't predict that. Now, what I can do is we can go to the daily, and when I look at Bitcoin on the daily, right, was this, let me see if let me just do this real quick. Did the ETF shift all of this up because of the front buying, you know, or the front loading of it, and then we got our drop here, but that just wasn't enough to get it back below this line. Even so, that's what I'm thinking. Is I'm thinking that if it wasn't for the ETF, if it wasn't for the ETF, we'd be under this blue line. So I'm pretty good to, I'm pretty close to giving that up. Now, the important stuff, right? So right here, a very little dotted line. What that's my support, and that's a guess at support. And the reason that's a guess at support is because I don't see any other support for where we are right now. I'm not saying that we're gonna drop heavily, but we don't have support, and we're in this ETF buying cycle where I'm not sure if there has been any slowing of what they're buying. So I've said it in the past. When we were at the bottom, my prediction for Bitcoin was about 185 for this cycle, and I thought that we would see things like ETFs afterwards. Then the ETF news came in, and I put out a video saying they want your BTC, and I think we got a lot of people front running the BTC into that. I guess that would probably be around here. So once again, where are we at right now? Well, if you have noticed, I've got my Fibonacci set up. So the last time I said that 30, I think 37, 39 was still in play. And it looks like we tapped 38.6, which is fine. I said at that time that I was not shorting. I was not going to play that game on that. I had bought in and I was done, and I was whatever I had, I was holding on for at least the next 30 days. Well, we're past that 30-day period now, and look where we are. And if we do our measurement from the ETF, well, hold on. Let's let's do a good measurement here. If we do our measurement from the ETF to where we are right now, it's 10% in 45 days. Wait, am I reading that right? And 9.96% in 49 days. So let's call that 10% because I'm bored. All right. Is anybody going to complain about 10% in 45 days if you just held on? So I'm not complaining. I could have traded that. I did trade other things. And I'm in other trades. So I'm not running stop loss on BTC, the BTC that I bought, because I don't trade BTC. BTC goes into a cold wallet the moment it's purchased, and it's put away, right, where no one can find it. And when I die, it'll just be gone, I guess. I don't know. But nobody can get to it. Nobody can access it except for me. I have to be there. Boom. Done. Right? That's gone. So anything that I bought in BTC, I can't buy and sell. I've said before that I do stop limits just quickly. let's take a look at the number one performer so far, right? Um, I put a stop limit somewhere down here was the last stop limit, and then I just said screw it and left my stop limit there. This is running, so I could sell right now, and I'm looking at a 97% profit on this trade. So I could sell half of this and use that amount to make another trade into one of the coins that I'm not in right now, into one of the cryptos that I'm not into right now. Um, so that's one thing that I'm thinking about doing. Uh, and then this R&DR, this is going to be put into storage for when Bitcoin hits the top. Um, so stop limits are still in play in this game. I'm using trailing stop limits. I'm willing to lose a probable 30%, 20% profit when something is 60% or more in profit, in other words. Um, and I'm willing to, once it gets to 100%, you have to do something. You have to sell it. You either have to sell it all and go to Taco Bell, or you have to sell half of it and put half of it into something else just in case. Something else that you like. Um, so this is where we are. I am expecting, from what I'm looking at, I am expecting it to go down. So how far am I expecting it to go down? The last time that I streamed, I said that 37, 39 was in play. We definitely hit that. At the time, people were saying that 30,000 was in play. And that was just insane. I don't know what I said about that. I don't even know if I mentioned it because all these YouTubers drive me nuts. Which, by the way, I'm not going to give my regular speech on don't buy anything from YouTube, don't buy any courses. I did put a link in the video below this to a YouTube channel that I can promote. Um, I love this guy's videos, but you'll see why once you watch the video. And if it's the kind of video you like, definitely subscribe to him. His voice needs to be heard a lot more. Um, I'll never sell you anything. I'll never contact you with anything. I have my own custom indicator, but as soon as I get happy with releasing it, I will release it. That'll be free. That's not a thing. Um, so that's where we are. So where am I expecting it to go down to now? Well, I'm going to look at my Fibonacci tool and I'm going to look at my EMAs. And I'm just going to say right now that the chance of it going all the way down to the 100 EMA is 10% in my mind, right? So that's a 42K. I'm going to say that going down to uh, the uh, brain fart, the 50 EMA, that jumps to a 60% chance. And I'll tell you why. It's because of the Fibonacci. Because the magic 0.618, I'm not going to tell you it's a strategy. I'm just going to tell you that that number is magic sometimes. And that magic number is there. So that's 60%. So now if we go up to our 20, right? So I'm now thinking that we could dip the same way that we dipped a little bit here below this EMA. I'm now thinking that we could easily dip below here. So saying that we dip below 49K in the next couple days that's not really a prediction. If you're looking at what I'm looking at, you will probably see it. If you're looking at what I'm looking at, you're saying, oh no, you're freaking crazy, right? But we've got our MACD taking a rest right now. So I don't see any real forward movement from what this is kind of indicating to me. I've said before, these EMA lines, they want to be closer together and they'll fight to get closer together and they'll fight to pull apart. But just like gravity, what goes up is going to have to come down at some time. So everybody is in a utter panic right now. We've got people saying that Bitcoin is going to 500K. We've got people saying that Bitcoin is going to $1 million. I'm not there. But now let's talk about Satoshis, because the implications of a 50 or a $500,000 Bitcoin or $1 million Bitcoin is far reaching from just people being rich. What's going to happen there is, and I predict it's going to be at the 500,000. So whether that 500,000 mark is a year and a half from now, like some people I've seen on the internet predicting, or whether it's another 5 years from now, it doesn't matter. I think it's going to get there. So at the 500,000 mark, one Satoshi becomes half of a United States penny. And why is this important? Well, this is important because this becomes conceptually easy to grasp, right? One Satoshi, half a penny. Two Satoshis is a full penny. If Bitcoin makes it to 1 million, that psychological factor now becomes, oh, a Satoshi is now worth a penny. So if you look at the Satoshis, I may get this wrong. There's 24 million Bitcoin total possible. That means that there are 100 million Satoshis per Bitcoin. That's 8 decimal places. So right now I don't know what a Satoshi's worth, right? I could figure it out real quick, but I don't want to. But at 500,000 it becomes easy to know what the dollar value of a Satoshi is. At $1 million of Bitcoin, it becomes even easier. So keep that in mind with the adoption curve. Part of the whole problem of looking at Bitcoin is people not being able to assign a value to it other than something astronomical. And really that price, that psychological barrier of buying something probably came in pretty heavy around when it was $3,000, when it dropped from 17 to 20 down to $3,000. Everybody even then thought when it started going back up, everybody then thought, well, $3,000 is a lot of money for a Bitcoin, for one Bitcoin. But once the Satoshi becomes worth a penny, all that changes. Once it becomes zero point 0.5, a lot of that changes. And I find that people have a fairly good capacity for switching currencies when they only have one to deal with. I think anybody who's been in a foreign country for more than a week devises their own little mathematical system of making sure they don't get ripped off too bad by the taxis. But that's the concept that I want you to kind of keep in mind as we have this adoption going on. Because even if we didn't have the ETFs, we would still have the adoption curve. If we didn't have the ETFs, we might still be down. Um, well, if we didn't have the ETFs, we might still be looking at a possible 37K Bitcoin. That's what I'm thinking. Because we would have been coming under here. We would have already been below 37. We would have come close to this red line after coming up. We would have at least come down to the 100 during this time period if the ETF didn't exist. So now that the ETF doesn't exist, when I say that this is going to come down to, what did I say, 48? Could dip below 48. I can't even give that a 50-50. I'm giving that a 50-50 chance. There's a 50-50 chance that it's going to drop down to 48. And if I take a look right now and I bail out of this right now to 48, it's 5%. I don't short Bitcoin. I can look at other things though, right? So if I go to like this, my top performer. I'm only showing you my top performer. Some of these are not doing nearly as well. So don't think that I'm like, oh, I'm making 100% on every trade. That doesn't happen. Um, that only happens in a bull market. But usually that happens a lot quicker towards the end, right? Like this kind of profit will happen in 2 days, 3 days, and then you'll have to switch to the next coin. Um, but here is this is it. This is a you've raised your stop limits up. You got into profit. You raised your stop limits up. It's ready. It's ripe. Uh, so yeah. All right. Start thinking in Satoshis. It's not too late to start cost averaging in. I don't subscribe to the philosophy of all in. I subscribe to the philosophy of making very small trades, making a lot of small trades, and losing your money until you pull your head out of your backside and learn to trade. And you're not going to learn to trade from a course. You're going to learn to trade from other people who are telling you exactly what they think without charging you money. And you're going to learn from books and hopefully good articles on how to trade from the internet. That's my advice. Go watch the Iman Trader. I so bad. Go watch the Iman Trader or go watch his videos and hopefully if you watch enough of those videos, you'll be like me and you'll know what to stay away from. All right, that's it, everybody. Have a great week. Remember, I try to love everybody. I can't love everybody, so I just forget about those that annoy me. Have a good one.